What's up YouTube, welcome back to Whack2 eSig. Today I'm doing a comparison review of the Juul by Pax vaporizers and the My by Von Earl. There is so much hype around these two small devices, and a lot of people might not understand that, but once you use them, get them in your hands, put them into your daily rotation, it starts to make a lot of sense. So comparing them just aesthetically to start, the Juul is obviously squared off, which is very interesting. It's different, it takes a little while to get used to, and the Von Earl is more rounded, which it feels better in the hand and in between your fingers. When you put it up to your lips, it feels a bit more comfortable, but the finish on this thing is very slippery, and since the battery is slightly bigger, when you put it in your mouth, it doesn't sit there properly, as opposed to the Juul, which is not perfect. It's not as small and light and round as a cigarette, but it's much easier to hang from your lips. If you don't care about that, even better for you, but I like to just sit around and have my cigarette or e-cigarette just hanging from my lips. So that was the first thing that I noticed for sure. When you first open up the Juul, you get the device with a little paper cardboard insert where the pod would go. You get the charger as well, which is just a little dinky USB magnetic thing. I'll show you it later. And then you get a box of pods, which I've used all of them, so you're probably not seeing a full pack. And then you get a warranty card in case something goes wrong. When you first open up the Von Earl, you get the device, you get one flavor pod, and then you get the charger as well as a user manual. I'm not sure if the Juul came with a user manual as well. If it did, I lost it, and I'm sorry about that. I should also mention that flavors for the Von Earl are regular tobacco, menthol tobacco. You get a ginseng ginger and like a cranberry vodka kind of flavor. Those two ones that are not menthol tobacco and tobacco, they only come in 0 milligrams and 9 milligrams. I don't really like that. I would have really liked the vodka cranberry, red vodka ice, whatever they call it. I would have liked that one to come in 18 because that's my favorite out of all the four, and it doesn't come in it. The only thing I can think of is that maybe with the TPD they are assuming restrictions will come on nicotine strengths and flavors, and they're keeping the high ones to the tobaccos and the menthol. I don't know, either way it kind of sucks. For the Juul, you get a fruit medley, a creme brulee, which I have now, a regular tobacco, and a cool mint. Cool mint is the hardest to get because it generally is the best. Most people like it the most. I'm a big fan of the creme brulee because it goes well with coffee, but also the tobacco goes well with coffee as well. The fruit medley is nice, it's nothing special, but if you really want a fruit flavor, at least they give you one. As far as charging goes, it's really up to you what you would prefer, but they are vastly different. The Juul uses its own magnetic proprietary charger. It's very simple to use. It just snaps into place and it plugs in. It's just a little USB thing. Kind of looks like one of those Wi-Fi adapter things. I prefer that. It charges just under an hour, so you can sit back and watch a Pipasardo video and it will be charged. That's what I did this morning. So it's very quick and easy. The only thing is you can't vape it while it's charging. The Von Earl uses a micro USB, which is standard in vaping nowadays, and they do tell you that you can vape it while it's charging. The only problem is the charger is so damn short that, say you want to charge it from your computer and do it, it's way too short. So yes, you could use your own charger and do it, it would be better. Just make sure that you're not using anything over half an amp because it's a very small battery. You do not want to blow this thing up. Now the most important part, at least in my opinion, the pods. The pod on the Juul has a 0.7 milliliter capacity. Now that is not a lot by any means, but they say that that's worth about a pack of cigarettes, and I can confirm that a full Juul pod lasts me throughout the entire day unless I'm chain vaping it. The Von Earl has a 2 mil capacity, and that has lasted me around 2 days, and it's a lot easier to chain vape this since there's less nicotine basically, and you can lung hit it, but it does last me around 2 days. So it really depends on what you want, especially because the Juul pods, I think, are a little bit more expensive than the Von Earls, so that doesn't really make sense, but at the end of the day it's really up to you. Both of the connections on the Juul and the Von Earl are basically the same. The way they go into the device is basically the same. The difference is on the Von Earl, it kind of just slides in and fits snugly into place, but the Juul actually clicks into place. As far as tactile feedback goes, I don't care that much about how it feels. What I care about is the fact that the Juul snaps into place, and that is giving it a much better connection. I've only had one of each of these, so I can't speak for all of them, but I'm assuming because the fact that the Von Earl does not click into place and snap into place, that is why I'm getting misfiring issues, and sometimes it does not work. Chances are it's gonna work completely fine on camera and then stop working as soon as I go off, but it hasn't been that big of a deal because there's no button to press, you're not exerting any extra energy, but it's just kind of annoying, and I would rather if it snapped into place like the Juul. So both of these devices show you how much battery you have left, but I prefer how it works on the Juul. So if I can focus this, you can see that the Juul has a little LED circle cut out there. If I tap on the battery twice, it'll shine green. As that goes down, it starts to shine yellow and then red, and then it stops working. I much prefer that. It is a very bright light though, so if you have the light facing up, it's gonna shine in your face. May not show up that well on camera, but I generally put my thumb over it and just vape it like that, just so it doesn't get in the way of my life. With the Von Earl, it shows you how much battery there is, but you have to take a draw on it, and it's right at the bottom there. So that is green when it's got the majority of the charge, and then I believe it goes yellow and red as well, so, or it might go white instead of yellow. Either way, they both tell you how much battery there is, but if you want a bit easier way of knowing it without having to take a puff, the Juul is the best way to go. Now the final thing we can talk about is how they vape, because that is the most important part. The Juul is much more for the smoker in my opinion. Flat out, it's very easy to say that. The draw is tighter, the way it feels in your lungs is better, and that's because of the liquid, which we'll talk about after. And it's generally all round something sleeker and easier, more comfortable for a smoker. The Juul I can see as being a backup device for the vapor that just wants a very small device. I think it will work for smokers as well, but when it comes to the difference between the two and how that liquid of the Juul feels in your lungs, this cannot compare. However, if you smoke a lot of cigarettes, the Von Earl might be better for you for the simple fact that it holds more liquid and the battery lasts longer, because say you smoke a pack and a half or 2 packs a day, you're gonna need that long battery life to get you through the day. If you smoke about a pack a day, I think you can get away with the Juul pretty comfortably. The way I've been using these two is mouth to lung for the Juul and lung hitting the Von Earl. The reason for that is, first of all, there's only 18 milligrams in this Von Earl, and since it is a small battery, it's not very powerful. It doesn't have that ramp up time to give you that throat hit instantly. So I've been lung hitting this, and it's actually more comfortable because for some reason there's more airflow in this one. It's still not a huge hit, you're not getting clouds of vapor, but it is a lot looser than the Juul. With the Juul, they're using nichrome wire and silica wick, which is a very old technology compared to the Von Earl, which is using Canthal and organic cotton. As far as the flavor goes, they both come through very well. I'm not noticing a huge difference. The benefit of using nichrome wire is that since these batteries aren't very powerful, the nichrome wire allows the heat to transfer a lot quicker, and that nichrome wire heats up very fast, and you get that ramp up time, which is very short, and you get the nicotine straight into you. And you do get more vapor from the Von Earl initially. I guess it's probably a thicker liquid, but it is also a bigger battery, so it might just be pushing out more power. The number one thing that sets these two apart is the liquid inside of the pods. The Juul is very different. PAX vaporizers, this is their first time getting into the electronic cigarette industry, and I guess they wanted to start with something different. What they've done is extracted nicotine salts, no idea what that is. They've extracted that from the tobacco leaf, and the feeling and sensation it gives you in your lungs is unlike anything I have ever vaped. The liquid in the Von Earl is created by La Vape Shop up in Montreal, I think, or Quebec, one of them. And it's just regular e-liquid basically. It does have a kind of floral note to all of the flavors that I've tried. Like, I'm using the tobacco right now. And the more I vape it, the more I get used to it. I actually kind of like it now, but at first I was like, this is too floral. I don't think I can get used to this, but as it stands, I have gotten very used to it. It's grown on me for sure. But the feeling that you get out of the 50 milligram liquid with that nicotine salt inside of this Juul pod is, like I said, it's unlike anything I've ever vaped. Unlike regular vaporizers, it doesn't give you a throat hit. It doesn't give you that instant throat hit into your throat and then into your lungs. It's a delayed lung sensation. So I take the pull, I inhale it, and as I'm about to exhale, I feel like the nicotine is working its way into my lungs. When I first tried it, I coughed up a lung. I instantly knew that it was different, that it was unlike anything else, and I saw potential in it because I've been vaping now for about 3.5 years, and I don't remember anymore what a cigarette feels like, but as soon as I took a hit from this, I realized this is what a cigarette feels like, and it is the closest to a cigarette sensation in my lungs that I have had since I quit smoking. That's not to say that regular e-liquid does not give you a good sensation and cannot get you to quit cigarettes, because it can. It's worked for multiple millions of people, but this liquid in the Juul is very different. And I have a friend that I've been trying to get to vape for a very long time. I haven't pushed it on him, but he's just never really liked it. He takes a hit, coughs up a lung, says, I will not vape. I let him try this once I brought it home, and he did not cough, even though it's 50 milligrams. And he said this is perfect, that it feels like a cigarette. So if you are a person who is trying to quit smoking, who has tried any electronic cigarette before and it's just really not worked for you, I think the Juul will make a difference. But if you're happy vaping, you don't really need this. This is not going to make you quit any faster, I don't think, because it's just a different sensation. But if you really need that sensation, this will give it to you. Now, as well as the liquids being different, the pods are very slightly different, not just in size. So the Von Earl, it's completely sealed. I've tried to open it up, I've tried to take it apart, everything. It's machined to be 100% sealed, and I think that's because they're made in Austria, so they're made for the TPD. They're supposed to be leak-free, which I haven't really found. Every time I pop this open, there's at least a drop of liquid that's hanging around there, so I'm not sure what that's about. But the Juul, you can open up the pod, and you'll see a video now. You basically just take a flathead screwdriver and you pop open the side, and then a little rubber grommet, you can take it out and then fill it up with liquid. If you fill this up with regular e-liquid, you're not gonna get the same sensation in your lungs, because regular e-liquid does not have the nicotine salts. And if you fill this up with anything less than like 40 milligrams, you're not really gonna feel a throat hit. Here's the cool part. 416 is launching basically a version of their liquids. So they're an established company in Canada. They have a lot of good flavors, and they're gonna be making 40 milligram liquid to use exclusively in the Juul. And this is what it looks like. It's just a regular e-liquid bottle. This is one from their Rated VG line. It's called Frostbite. It's like a menthol and mixed berries flavor. Really delicious. In regular atomizers, it's very powerful on the menthol, very muted on the mixed berries, but it still comes through. In the Juul, it's the opposite. It's kind of muted on the menthol, but you still get a cool hint, and the mixed berries are in the forefront and it's delicious. I have it loaded up in this Juul pod. And I'm not sure what the PG-VG ratio is in the Juul liquid, but I get much more vapor out of this one. This is a 50-50, and if I can focus on it, it's a 40 milligrams. So these are going to be coming in 10 ml bottles, and that's for a few reasons. First reason I would assume is safety. It's 40 milligram liquid, that's a lot of nicotine. If for some freak accident this was to spill on you or anywhere, it's better to have a small amount spill than an entire 30 ml bottle. The other thing is that nicotine is very expensive. So these bottles are gonna cost about 20 bucks. You can imagine if it was 3 times the size, you wouldn't wanna be paying 60 bucks. That's not that big of a deal. 10 mils for 20 bucks sounds like a bad deal, but when you consider that there is 40 milligrams of nicotine and the Juul pods only have 0.7 milliliter capacity, you can fill this up more than 10 times, and I'd say that's pretty much worth it, considering one Juul pod lasts you pretty much the entire day. With the 40 milligram liquid in here, I'm getting a really nice throat hit, especially with that menthol kick, but I'm not getting the same sensation as with the Juul liquid because there's not the nicotine salts. I saw a picture online, I think it was on Reddit, of a big shelf with bottles of Juul liquid and a bunch of different flavors. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that PAX is creating refillable pods that you can fill their own liquid into, and probably it will have that nicotine salt in it. But until then, or if you don't like that sensation, you can still get the Juul and put this liquid into it. So although I have tried to open these and I can't seem to get it done, I'm sure that someone will get it done. If they can, I will try to add an annotation, or maybe in the description below if you can. Maybe by the time you see this video, there will be many videos about how to refill them. I don't know how popular this is gonna get, but I know the Juul is very popular. There's videos already on how to fill them up. They don't tell you to do it. They actually tell you not to open them up and refill them. The reason for that is because if you do it wrong and you get the liquid on your hand, either 40 or 50 milligram liquid is gonna seep through your skin, and even with a little bit, you're gonna feel a little nicotine rush from it. So I would advise, if you are going to be doing it, maybe wear gloves, be as careful as you can, and try not to damage the housing of the pod, because you don't want it to leak in the future or while you're using it, stuff like that. So I think I covered everything in this video, but if you want to know more, you can leave a question in the comment section below. I do my best to answer them all. And the links in the description will be for where you can get these in Canada, but also the original website from the manufacturers, so you can find out any more information that you need. If you found this information useful, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to the channel to see more videos, click on the Whacked Out Canada e-cig logo. It's either going to be up there or up there, and then up there you can see other reviews for starter kits if you're interested in regular vaporizers and atomizers. So that's about it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. That's a bad idea. Too much nicotine.